We'll get started in about 1 minute. Hi, I'm Sean Swindler, and welcome to our Family Education Series from the Kansas LEND, or Leadership Education and Neurological Disabilities group. And we're really excited tonight because we have some awesome LEND students and postdocs who are going to be presenting to you about probably the #1 piece of advice we give for families and teachers working with kiddos with autism, and that is making visual schedules. And so I'm going to introduce Katherine Tepper. She'll introduce herself as she comes up, and we'll get started. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. I'm Katherine Tepper. I'm a doctoral postdoctoral fellow at the University of Kansas Medical Center, as well as a LEND fellow. Thank you all so much for being here. This is pretty exciting because this is really something that we do recommend to almost every single family, is to create some visual supports. A lot of the time we create visual supports with families, which is wonderful, but really it's not rocket science. We think that families can create these on their own every day. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started and talk about them. So just a brief overview, we're going to talk about what are visual supports, uses for visual supports and how they can be helpful, some examples of various different types of visual supports, a demonstration on how to create them, and then we're also going to create our own. So those of you who are in person, we have a bunch of ways to create them here. And those of you who are attending online, we would like for you to try and create them on your own computer after we've given a demonstration. The objective of today is we really want to provide you all with the knowledge to create and the ability to really create your own visual supports. If you're ever in a bind and you want to be able to help your kid in a way that we kind of know is best, is you'll be able to do that all on your own. So what are visual supports? So they can be used to help convey expectations. So a visual support could really kind of outline what are the rules, what do we expect from you every single day, how to complete a task, what are the exact steps. So these would be in a list, but then we would provide a visual next to that list so that your children will really be able to see what exactly you can see. Let me just pause for 1 second. So those of you who are attending via Facebook Live, we do have somebody who's monitoring questions. And so please go ahead and ask your questions from there, and she will let me know what questions you have. The other way you can use visual supports is to anticipate upcoming activities. You can help provide a schedule of what comes next. So we're here, what is the next step? So you could be in the morning. First you brush your teeth, and then what's next, and what's next, and what's next, and what's next after that. I know a lot of kids ask a lot of questions. What's coming next? Why are we doing this? What's next? What happens tomorrow? What is this? These kinds of visual supports can really limit those questions, because you can say, look at your schedule, check it out. What does it say? Help make transitions to the next activities. Same kind of thing. If they know what's coming next and they can see it in a schedule via pictures, this can really allow them to identify what's next and ease that transition. And then also show reinforcement for completion. And so we'll talk about this a little bit more, but once tasks are completed, they can see what they're going to get for completing that task. So they can really help individuals develop organizational habits. So you're providing the organization up front, and so that kids can really provide that organization for themselves, rather than trying to ask a lot of questions. We know that children, adolescents, adults with autism often have difficulty with their working memory, with problem solving, with planning. And so this can help with creating a support for all of those things. And so it's kind of a way that we would provide that support. If you guys think about it, you all use a visual support for your everyday life. Every single one of us likely uses some sort of planner, some sort of way to remind ourselves what's going on. We all use this. And so this is just a way to help people with autism and neurodevelopmental disabilities, and pretty much anybody with that organization. So some various uses for visual support. So a schedule, like I was talking about. A lot of families use this for a morning routine, an afternoon routine. So they know exactly, so your kids know exactly what comes in the morning, exactly what comes in the afternoon. A lot of families have pretty rigid routines, and so they know exactly what's going to happen. What happens in my afternoon? Another type of schedule is the first then. So this is kind of a way of helping kids identify what's going to happen. So first I'm going to do this maybe non-preferred activity, and then I get something that's a little bit more exciting. So first I'm going to brush my teeth, and then I get 5 minutes of video game time. So they know exactly what's going to happen. But just by saying that, that might not register with your kid. But if you put it into pictures, that's likely far more easy. It's going to be easier to register that first I'm going to do this thing that I don't really like to do. But then once I do that, I get to do something a little bit more exciting. A to-do list. Who wants their kids to do a little bit more things? Maybe. This can be really helpful of identifying, what are you going to do? What do I expect of you to happen today? Here's your list. Pictures. A reward system. This is huge. So we said more than a sticker chart on our title, right? Well, a sticker chart is rewards. That's kind of the whole point of a sticker chart. You can enhance your sticker chart or your reward system by adding visuals to it. So they know what's expected, they know what's coming next. Does this make sense? Yeah? Okay. Social stories. This is kind of a way to teach kids various social situations. So whether or not that is identifying when it's appropriate to talk about certain topics and when it's not, or when it's appropriate to give hugs and when it's not appropriate to give hugs. Social stories are really built solely for one child, and they identify exactly any sort of social situation that one child is having difficulty navigating. And so they kind of go through the entire situation using pictures and very few words. And so that story can be read to the child right before the social situation might occur. Labeling. So this is really helpful, but labeling all sorts of things with pictures. So they know exactly what that item is with a picture. And activity tracking. So providing a picture for the activity that's being accomplished. And you can move, so this is a way to kind of say, this is our schedule, and then this is the to-do list, and this is the done list. So you can move the activity from the to-do list to the done list once it's completed. Does that all make sense? Any questions so far? Okay. So this is an example of a visual schedule. This is an afternoon routine. So as you guys can see, this is broken down into pretty specific steps. So you drive home, and then you have a snack, and then you do homework, and then you get a little bit of free time, dinner, playtime, bath, read books, and bedtime. So the whole point of this is to really help a child understand what exactly happens when I get home from school. These are the things that happen. This can really assist with transitions. So if you're asking a child to go from homework or from snack to homework, that could be kind of a hard transition, but if they know that it's happening and they know it's coming, that can absolutely ease with the transition. Overall, though, when you're thinking about a visual schedule, you want to break it down into small enough steps that there's not a step in between that you're missing. So if you go from homework to dinner, but in between there's a little bit of a break, you're going to want to make sure that that little break is also in your schedule, just so that they're not confused as to what's happening right now. This is kind of a confusing time, and what are you expected to do during those times? Or you also want to really try your best for the types of schedules that you're creating that are pretty routine activities. You want to really make sure that you have all of the activities in there in the schedule, rather than saying, oh, I forgot homework. Well, that's kind of a big one to forget. And if it's not in the schedule, a lot of kids might get super frustrated and not want to do it. This is another way to kind of look at visual supports. These are both 5-point scales. The one on the right is very popular with a lot of our kids, because a lot of kids really like Minecraft. But the whole point of this one is to really help kids be able to label exactly kind of where they are emotionally. So the one on the left, a 0 is calm, they're good. A 5 is they're really mad. This requires a little bit of coaching and a little bit of teaching, but providing this visual really allows for kids to say, oh, well, yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm really upset. I'm really frustrated. Whereas if you ask the question, are you mad? That might be a little bit more difficult to answer. But if you put out a visual support, it might be a bit easier to identify where they are. On the other side of it, you're also trying to help kids develop some coping skills and identifying what kinds of skills they can use whenever they're feeling themselves getting escalated. In addition, it also kind of points out exactly how they might be feeling when they're escalating. So going from just okay to annoyed, or annoyed to really bothering me. Some things that they might do is yell, they might run away. And hopefully by providing this support, they'll be able to start identifying what that feels like in their body before they escalate even further, so they can start using those skills earlier. But again, the big kicker here is providing the visual to match what they're feeling. Any questions on this? This one has been seen to be really, really helpful in helping kids de-escalate a decent amount, as well as identifying their own emotions. All right, and I'm going to have come on up. Gabby, my coworker, is going to come on up.
All right, so next we're going to talk about a reward schedule. This reward schedule is used to kind of help motivate a kid to do a routine, especially if there are parts of it that they don't like brushing their teeth or taking a bath. So what you can do is that for when you go over the schedule with your child, say that, okay, once we get off the bus, if you get off the bus, nicely, then you can get a dinosaur. And a dinosaur next to your chart means that you can get a reward. And a reward can be either a preferred snack or extra time playing, anything that, will really motivate them to do whatever they need to do. And at first, you could have it be that they need just one dinosaur to get the reward. And then you can gradually over time be like, okay, now you need 2 dinosaurs until you can get your reward, until eventually they'll need all dinosaurs on their chart to get the reward. And then each time that they do something great, you can say, hey, great job brushing your teeth. Here's a dinosaur. And if they don't do it well, then you can just say, sorry, you don't get a dinosaur this time, but maybe next time that you'll get a dinosaur.
So this is really, really helpful in creating that extrinsic motivation for kids to do the things they might not really want to do. So brushing their teeth, taking a bath, homework and reading, all of those things are maybe not the most preferred activities, but if you provide a little bit of external motivation, they could become a little bit more motivated to do those things independently. And so, or maybe without so much coaxing or so much frustration or any argument. Again, the hope is, number one, when they have the idea or the understanding that these things are what's coming, this is coming next, this is coming next. That's kind of your first line of prevention, of really allowing your kids to know, okay, this is what our day looks like. But then if that's not quite enough, then you can really add some extrinsic motivation to that. We're not talking huge gifts. We're not talking they get to go to Walmart and pick out anything they want. This is, you might get a preferred snack. You might get a little bit of extra video game time. You might get something small. Sometimes if that's not quite enough, you might say, okay, you get all these little small rewards, but if you do this 7 days in a row, then you get a bigger prize for doing all of that. The big kicker with visuals is that the hope is it makes everybody's life a little bit easier, there's a little bit less back and forth frustration of completing these day-to-day routines, day-to-day tasks. Any questions about this? So the big thing with this one is that you really want the schedule in general and the rewards. So for this child, dinosaurs were really exciting for him. So just earning a dinosaur was rewarding in itself. So if your child really loves Minecraft, or if they really love Roblox or Pokemon, whatever it is, the little small rewards can be that. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be dinosaurs, which are, yeah. Yeah, so the question is how quickly should you deliver the reward? The expectation needs to be set that they have to complete however many tasks you want them to complete before they receive that reward. So if you're expecting them to complete the left side of this reward schedule, before they receive a treat. Once they complete it, then they get that preferred snack. So on this one in particular, they get a dessert snack on the left side at the very bottom. That would be when you provide that reward. It needs to be pretty quick. But the bigger reward, again, you're going to be tracking. You would have to kind of be tracking, like you did 7 days in a row at this, now you did Monday, you did Tuesday, you did Wednesday, you did Thursday, Friday, and then you get your big reward. But all of these kind of need to be visual support. So they understand, like, okay, I've done these 3 days, and then if I do 2 more, then I get my reward. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to bounce it over to Sarah for a second.
Hi. So with first then, typically, like Katie said earlier, it's going to be for a less preferred activity to the more preferred activity. So first, put your toys away, and then you get to play on the computer. I would say this can be more kind of situational rather than your routine big schedule. So maybe one day the kids' toys are everywhere, and you want them to pick it up, and then they get a snack. Or maybe they need to do their homework, and then they get to play on the computer. So you can kind of make these for whatever you need in that moment. I've seen them before where all the little stickers are just kind of laminated in Velcro, so you can switch them out however you need them for that day. So whatever you would need done, and then whatever that preferred activity would be for a reward.
And this is really cool because this also is using those preferred activities that kids really like to do as the reward. That's all it is. And it really allows for kids to do things that they might not want to do a little bit easier by providing that kind of external reward. And again, this whole kind of presentation wraps into, if you just say it, well, first do your homework and then you'll get some extra thing. They might not process that, but if you provide the visual support and say, first we're going to do our homework and then you get computer time, that's a bit easier to process, to see it. If you see it in person, and you can refer back to the visual support rather than continuing to say, well, first we're going to do this. It's fine. First we're going to do our homework. That just provides a little bit more opportunity for that back and forth discussion that you might not be dying to have every day. And so these are really cool because you can just, if you see that top one, you can just have that kind of out where it's two squares, first, then, and then at any point in time, you can put two different pictures in there of like, this is what we're doing first and this is what we're doing next, to help yourselves. So it's kind of a quick thing. Like there's really no thought to it.
Is it better to have one thing in this instead of saying, first we're going to clean up your area and pick up your shoes, and then we'll do something?
So ideally it would just be one to one. It could be kind of hard to remember, well, we're going to do these two tasks and then I'm going to do this. You could put two tasks though and test it and see how it goes. But ideally it would be first this, we're going to pick up your room, and then this. And sometimes you even have to break down pick up your room a little bit too. First we're going to pick up these toys, and then we're going to pick up these toys, and then you get to go to do something fun. Okay. And now I'm going to bounce it over to Amy.
Okay, so I have a kiddo who is 12 in the 7th grade. His name is Carson, and he has developmental disability and also 2 speech and language disorders, praxia, childhood praxia of speech, and another disorder called dysarthria. And I just kind of wanted to talk about some of my own personal experience with using visual supports, and how kind of that has really impacted and kind of made our lives a little bit easier, especially in school. So pretty much when he was younger, more so kindergarten age, we had good experience with PECS, the picture exchange system, and also we were able to get an augmentative alternative communication device, which actually he would make push the button and it would voice output, would give choices and option, and that was more of a option for him since he is nonverbal, kind of to give him more options so he's able to develop language. And it kind of just, like Katie mentioned earlier, the main goal with visual supports is really just to give our kiddos independence and kind of help them de-escalate. With Carson, we had a lot of good experience with the first then. He really was able to grasp onto that one, and it created further less outbursts due to him being able to make choices. Because when we give our kids choices, it really helps. And then also I checked with his teacher just to clarify, he had more success with real pictures, like actually taking a photo of an object versus more of a pictorial drawing that sometimes they're real abstract and they're not the best. So if you are trying to Google and find a specific, shirt dressing or certain food or like people, if you try to explain, we're going to go see Nana today, actual taking a picture is real helpful. And just giving him the option and with the visual support, just really to help him realize what his daily routine is and what that expectation is. Because once that's all set in a visual schedule, like I said, it can really just help with behavioral outbursts if a child is not able to verbally make decisions or say, I don't want to do this. So it really is helpful. And just really know that every child is different. And if it doesn't work, maybe you try certain icon or picture and you're not getting good feedback from that, or it's confusing, maybe try something else. And just everybody's different, and you just got to keep doing, what works best for you. So.
All right. I think that's the real key is that every child is going to respond differently to various things, and so visual supports can look different for every kid. So using actual pictures, we have a lot of access to true pictures. We have our phones on us all day, so you can take pictures of every single activity that you think is going to happen, or that happens in your typical routine. And create that and put that into a visual schedule. That's one way that's really, really helpful. Another way, if you really don't have access to those kinds of things, is to find these kinds of pictures in a magazine where there are real people doing these activities. That's another really wonderful way. A couple of points I did want to hit on. Number one is that there are certain routines that really don't happen very frequently, and we really hope that they don't happen very frequently, but I think that it would be helpful for a lot of families to have these have these kinds of supports, especially for emergency situations. What's expected when you have to get out of the house? What does that schedule look like? That could be really, really helpful in case of a fire, in case of a gas leak, that kind of thing, that you have to leave your house. Having a visual support for that handy, ready to go when that situation happens, could be really, really helpful in the situation. If you have to go, going to the doctor, going to the dentist, all those kinds of things, having a visual schedule, a visual support of what happens when we do these things can be really, really helpful for kids to understand what it looks like. What does this appointment look like? What's going to happen while I'm there? Kids come to us all the time and they think that they might be getting a shot, or something might happen. Well, we're not that kind of doctor, so it's a little bit confusing. And so we kind of try and provide these kinds of supports for kids to help them understand a little bit better about what is going to happen while you're here, to just really try and reduce the anxiety of the appointment. So I think that could be super helpful. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to make visual supports. So the whole gist of this is that a lot of families come into us and they're like, well, we were doing so well, but we don't have a visual support. We were doing so well in the morning, but the evening is a nightmare. Because we don't have a visual support for the morning, because we made one for the morning, or for the night. We made one for the morning, but we didn't have time to make one for the night. So this is kind of the whole gist, is helping you guys make them. So I'm going to clip this onto myself now. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is go to Microsoft Word. And then you're going to click on Insert at the top, and insert a table. The table is going to be 2 by however many items you need. Okay, so I always start with 2 by the most it allows me, so 2 by 8. And then I move it down just a little bit by clicking this box right here. Can the people online see this? No. Oh. It doesn't work even if we turn the lights off? Okay. Oh, the computer, got it. Okay, well, I believe that with the slides, I've also created a handout that kind of goes through what I'm going to do right now. And so that will be sent out to the people online as well as that handout. So on the left-hand side of this, you're going to type in what your schedule is. So what I usually do is just identify the schedule. So we're going to do, what routine are we going to do? The routine that I'm going to do right now is an evening routine. So you get off the bus, that would be the first thing. And then the next thing would be to take off your backpack. So take off backpack, playtime, homework, dinner, bath time, brush teeth, and then bedtime. Just look like a lot of people's evening routines, kind of similar. We all do a lot of the same things at night. So, and then the next thing you're going to do is put your cursor in this first box. So get off bus. And then you're still on the insert tab and you'll click on online pictures. So we'll search bus clip art. Then I try and find one that looks a lot like a typical school bus. And then you click on insert, and then you'll have to make that much smaller just by clicking on that top right little circle there. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And then the next one, we're going to go back up to insert, online pictures, take off. We're going to say backpack, clip art. So the big thing here is to enter a term that you think is relevant. And then if you're searching online, make sure you put clip art, because a lot of the photos you might get of if you're searching for bath time or something like that might not be exactly what you were thinking you were searching for. So that's a kind of a big kicker. And then you can find one that looks a decent amount like your child's backpack, and then again, click insert. Okay. And then you continue to do this for each of the items. Okay. So toys for playtime. Go ahead and insert that one. What do you guys think? Think this is doable? Really doable, right? It's really, really easy. And so that's really exciting because you guys can now go home and do these for your own children, because it's really, really simple. There's a lot of good clip art items on the internet. There's also quite a few great, I mean, you guys can take the pictures on your own as well, which is really, really easy too. So you go through the whole routine. I always like to add a title at the top. So let's just say this is Katie's evening routine. You want to keep the words really simple. So take off backpack, not it's time to take off your backpack. You just say take off backpack, get off bus. Really, really simple. And then when you're done, you can either keep the table as is if you want to. Some kids really thrive with that structure. Other kids don't really like it so much. And so what you can do then is just get rid of those grid lines. So you would go right here to this box, click on the down arrow, and then say no border. And then the border's gone, and it's just a list of things. Okay? If you want to add this into, if you want to make this a reward schedule, like we were talking about earlier, you could also add another box over here. So to do that, you just click, you create this down arrow. You would go to layout over here and then just insert right. And then right here, you could say you earned your dinosaur, and so we would stick it right there. Okay? Something we do with visual schedules a lot of the time with kids is we create the visual schedule and then we slip it into a sleeve, just a clear plastic sleeve, a paper protector, and then each time they do something, you can make a check mark, you can cross it off the schedule, or that's where you can kind of post the thing. But that way the schedule stays pretty good all the time. What do you guys think? Pretty good? Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of the way to create the schedule. So I at this point, we were going to go ahead and jump in and make visual schedules here. And the people who are attending online, I would really like for them to create their own visual schedules on the computer that they're on. And I will be monitoring the questions that you guys have so that I can answer any of those questions, because I know that you did not see the demonstration just now due to the lighting in this room. But those of you who are here, we have quite a few different things up here. So we have various types of paper and then a bunch of different clip art photos for both a morning and an evening routine. You can come down and kind of figure out, we can help you figure out what your routine is, and then create the visual schedule for those routines. Does that sound good? Okay, any questions right now? Okay, any questions online? Not right now. Okay, let's go ahead and just start making some. So there's a little line right here. I'm just gonna put this down. A bunch of different colors of paper. Yeah, I think
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of like our school area, mealtime, kind of you're getting ready, bedtime, waking up, and just activities. Those paper cuts might be tricky. We can take them off. There's like 30. Yes. Okay. Having something in our mouth. And this one we weren't sure if it was kind of like mini dress, not panties. So some pictures we definitely use for more than one thing as well. We don't have a school bus.
What kind of schedules do you guys do?
Our big issue right now is bedtime, or actually after bedtime. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be in bed.
So we've been using the schedule for years, for like after school or anytime during the day, there's structure.
Yeah, I love
it.
those.
Really, really works. But we just have to change it up as far as
And we also have Sharpie, so if you want to try to draw that chart yourself,
not working.
write in, get up. Computer printed,
Okay,
font,
that's too much. Okay.
but
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, right. Okay. Like this, I stay quite in my elbows. Yeah. It was even worse. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so she's getting like a lot.
I have a schedule for that. Yeah.
Okay, she would.
She would. Yeah, she's not there yet.
Yes.
So last night.
Did he go? It was 5:30. And that one you still. I think. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't have the
Oh, that's
She's been
so not that it's coming, but
Like I mentioned, it's really just
Yeah.
finding
Yeah.
what's going to work.
but I think it's helpful,
It'd
be good to do.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I definitely think, I kind of think I've never really used these things. But almost like having the more set routines for your more set days. So maybe like weekday morning, this is what to have.
Yeah.
But then maybe on the weekend, that's not what it's going to be like. So having that flexibility to go between the two.
Right. Because I do notice that there's times like I was doing the routine, and then when I got out of it, he was throwing a fit. So I started changing the routine, so it wasn't predictable, because then that allowed more flexibility later on.
Yeah.
We're traveling, or so it's almost I don't know, for him.
Another idea I would have with that is if he's really good with just pictures, almost have like this sheet, or get like a laminated piece of paper if you have access to that, and do Velcro. And on the back of all these, get Velcro, and then you can just move them around as you need to, depending on the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the Velcro I think is for most of the charts in general. I think are the easiest, because that way when you do have something that comes up and it's not the set schedule, then you can interchange, and really all you need to do is just get like the two types of Velcro. So you'll have the one side,
Right.
and then the Velcro tab on the other, and you can just interchange.
I knew they used to sell Velcro, not the stiff side, but the soft side. You could buy it
In a roll,
in a
like
roll.
thing, and then you
Yeah.
cut it.
Yeah, but I don't know where you can find that.
Probably Hobby Lobby or Craft Store.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to look at that.
Or they may have, there's a teacher type store called Lakeshore Learning.
Yeah.
They may have possibly pre-cut Velcro-y type, or like shapes.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do that, they may already have some that's like already pre-cut.
Right. This Velcro, this soft side was like a roll like this big.
Oh, okay.
And like 3 foot long, so you can cut
Yeah.
them to whatever. But I've seen the kind where it's like, here's the stiff side, soft side, thin 1 inch. That's in a roll too.
Yeah.
That might
Yeah.
be it.
So Amazon, I can't tell if it's all the sticky side, but they have kind of more dots.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that
dot.
would be perfect.
Yeah. And they sell those too, probably.
It says 1,000 pieces for $14.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of Velcro.
Might be using
There's like
lot of
a
Velcro.
300 one for $7.
Uh-huh.
But that's an option too.
So how does this, because I know like with like AAC, some of the conferences I've gone to where it's, the PEX is low, AAC is high. So does this make it go back low with the schedule? Because
this
I'm not
is
using this AAC.
More low tech. I would say when you get the more high tech options with your computerized options.
Right.
There are. I'm a speech language pathology student.
Oh, okay.
There are, like, if you're interested in exploring the more technology side of AAC, there are some free apps you can download onto iPads to kind of get started. But if you think,
See, that has prologue to go.
Okay.
Because he's non-verbal, but
Okay.
I mean, he's in the beginning stages. So I'm like, I don't want to screw up if I'm supposed to be going only AAC.
No, generally it's
I would
interchangeable,
say-
right?
yeah, and I would say if his device is more a communicative purpose and this is more like a scheduled purpose. So he's not going to be using this to communicate.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I mean, you could always give him the choice, like, would you rather G first or
Right.
computer first? And, like, you would make the schedule that way, but he's not going to be using that to be like, Mom, I want an apple.
Yeah. Well, and that. I mean, I feel like an idiot using it. Go to, there's so many. Go to this folder to find this person, to go to this place. So it takes me like 15 minutes just to say, going to.
Yes. Yeah. It
So,
can be an adventure.
Yeah. So I am on the learning curve too, because I feel like it's a whole new language. So it's sort of like
It is. It really is. And there's so many different systems. So there might be an AAC system out there that makes more sense with your brain.
Right.
But it's just not his system.
Right.
I have professors who joke, they're like, if I ever lose my language, this is the device I want, this is what I want, like, this works for me, this is what I need, just because we're familiar with the devices and we know everyone's a little bit different.
Right. Okay. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that I'm like, I feel like this works, but I don't want to go backwards when.
Yeah.
We're supposed to go.
Yeah, no, I think those are they work together very well.
Good, good, okay, okay. I like the idea about the notebooks where they have. like,
Yeah, that's how
here's the
they
ones not
have
being
it.
used,
Yeah.
and they put them on top.
Yeah.
Easier to carry them, like having Wi-Fi or
Multiple
Yeah.
sheets, yeah, laminated or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that way, if it's laminated too, maybe it would be easier, or like Velcro, it would be easier. I don't know if you would be in a situation where you would need to have a schedule with you, but maybe you could bring it with you.
Right, right.
It just,
Yeah, well, and it might be
easier.
helpful, like a little Facebook.
Yeah,
It's not helping her fault.
yeah, like the first then.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, that
where
would maybe be good.
it's gonna be a later night.
Yeah, I think just from what I'm hearing from you, having that flexibility in the schedule will
Yeah.
probably be very helpful. So
Yeah.
I think kind of preparing,
What I would do is
and then it might be a mess to organize, but just having the option to add flexibility to the
Right.
schedule.
Right, right. I think so too.
Oh,
I mean, probably in the end, more information for him is probably better, even though he just goes with the flow. So, you know.
That's probably part of it of being the youngest of four.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. He wants to go. Let's go. All right.
Having toys in her room.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
She's not trying to go back. Does that make sense? Yeah.
All the options too. Sheesh.
We cut out a lot.
I bet your hands hurt.
We were joking. It's like arts and crafts, but Sarah and Gabby, basically. We're sitting there with our scissors.
Yeah. Just because it's reinforcing. I know if I wake up early, I look at my phone. So I would kind of make those rules of like we can turn our not get up and go.
I got them at one point.
Did you get the slides ahead of time?
No, but I just signed up last.
Oh, okay.
The teacher
I was just
for our
curious.
class just
Okay.
sent it out yesterday,
Okay. Oh, okay.
and so I just.
Okay. People had a hard time viewing like the slides, like the people that were online.
So will it be available after?
It should be.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but I meant the slides. Oh, yeah. They'll be available somewhere, I'm sure.
I think you said that.
No, they can be emailed.
Yeah.
Are we all members of the team? Exactly. There's actually also 2020.
We're gonna have to save them, use them for something.
Yeah. So that's something of like helping her with a little bit of something.
Yeah, I go well. Yeah. It says something that you guys have to say about how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. How many people are on there? No, are there questions? Do I need to be moderating now? I don't know.
Are they under the comment section?
Yeah.
Serious, so exactly. That's like to really provide a little bit more. The other question is, yeah, every night. Oh, so and she goes to sleep. Yeah. 5 minutes. It's like 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. Then the rest of the night, I sleep to my iPad.
Yeah, someone just commented that Walmart has so. Oh, okay. Oh, they can hear us. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we took all the bulbs out. One minute. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it could be helpful. Somebody to just a little bit to talk to her about what she's going through and give her some strategy. Yeah, there's probably some better ways to do it.
You're left to right or up to down?
Yeah.
So, however you want to do it, I think.
And depending on how many things you want to play.
Able to apply strategies. So there's just really cool curriculum.
Reading and visually.
Yeah, I would say if we do two columns, but I would say if it's two columns, it's down, not
Not left, right, like reading. Okay.
And really concrete steps. But it's really cool, really good. Helping kids.
We don't even know.
We're gonna try this.
No, I'm like manning.
You could, or you go to. I don't know anybody in this area that's doing it, but you could do it on your own. But another therapist could also do it. But yeah, it's a curriculum. It's usually done in groups because it's helpful.
Amy, will you grab that? I hate Amy.
Yep, it's a really
Drink your water and get your sticker bubble.
great state.
I love my thing.
Sarah,
Yeah, I'm watching it. That happened. We have 7 viewers. Microphone's right there.
But it's specifically
did you ever get any participants for your study?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I did. Hannah and Chris.
And you know that's what to do. Finding a therapist.
Maybe some time. Still just early.
Yeah, so like. Yeah. Lenny told me last year. There were some. That was something that we tried to do. Yeah. Yeah. So just think about. Right. You guys have probably experienced.
She said we have to get 300 hours up.
So it sounds like you have a lot of really awesome strategies. Weird. Like she remembered, but I didn't want to say it.
It was just amazing.
Yeah,
She did not.
I've been trying to do this stuff before.
She was
We don't really have a lot of it. Sounds like. And she's probably doing a really good.
By the way,
Not a really good job right now. She's like probably ramping up a bit, and then
so yeah, they used to be $4.
and so she's ramping it up to 20. Still working. That makes sense. Where like she's been reinforced to come out of it. That's what I find. Right.
Yeah. So the good news is that they're all
But then we did reinforce her coming out.
It's hard to get to Kansas City to make this.
That makes sense.
There's no direct lines.
Oh, there are.
So whenever that kind of thing happens, actually, but
There might be one now, but in the 4 years within Mississippi, there's not. There might. I heard they were talking about getting one for a really long time.
I don't remember. I just heard
Like when I would buy from Representatives, I there's like Chicago. Or like one time I went to Nashville and I took a flight to Mississippi.
And we used to target.
And then my brother
Yeah.
But we didn't see
the chocolate chips on the charge and having she
and we also
my dad
have
got to see
and they
So what I would do with your reward schedule here, this is just my opinion. But what I would do is say, like, if I stay in my room and I'm quiet all night, I get a sticker. And if I do this 3 nights, 5 nights, then I get something sticker. But, or if I do this 2 nights in a row.
Sure, and there's water over there too. No one's eating them, so.
Oh, yeah.
But rather than reinforcing smaller, no matter what.
Yeah, 1387. That's great.
So we don't want to reinforce that. Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know when grades have 3 hours in?
Yeah.
So grades have been great.
No, yeah.
They're posted.
Your grades not in a
Yeah, we'll see it at the.
I was checking Moodle.
Oh, yeah, I don't think she posted it on Moodle, but it's in there.
You're welcome.
It's
under enrollment.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody got an A.
I don't think she.
But she hasn't graded her paper.
I feel like she did. I didn't see it graded Moodle. But then when I went to enroll pay, I had to pay for the course. So I'm sure she graded them and she just didn't put them in online for the paper. So
Well, because I didn't get all my points for that one paper, but I think I got like a 95.
Yeah.
90. Are you either going to disability? Yeah, I'm not going.
to what?
I have to pick myself.
How'd it go?
The book is, I mean, it's really, really good, but it's really good. So it's something that we recommend.
So it's really funny because.
Because it's really helpful, and it phases out the sleep barrier in the book, which is really good. Like it's just over the sleep barrier.
And then you turn it right on.
So, I try
So
to
it's-
add.
Oh,
I would check it out to say, like, you can do this 2 nights in a row, then you're good.
Sorry. No, that's sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was on a Pikachu theme.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's very true.
Yeah. I bet it'll show, but I bet there's a.
Oh, no, you're fine. I've seen if anything happened on.
Yeah. Hang in there. Thank you so much. It's been, I feel like I'm sure it's really, really frustrating, but it will. It'll get better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, you can't really play.
So it might not be as
Flexible as the Velcro, but it's still reusable.
well in our morning.
We look out.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a morning too?
That's what we have.
Oh, that's what you have? Oh, okay.
Morning is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe we can get the Velcro for that one then.
Yeah.
It has to be interchangeable and flexible, but yeah, I just feel like,
So.
they specifically use it at school, or I think it would be total chaos for the teacher, but just to keep everybody in line, and so they know what's going on. Even I think my kindergartner who doesn't have a disability, it just, life break was not good because mommy doesn't have the set schedule. Like, we're going to do center time and we're going to do snack time and playground. And, yeah.
Yes, I've been
So
in
ready to
kindergarten
like,
and they all have those on the wall. Like,
yeah.
what we do.
Yeah.
And they have schedule. I mean, at school, it's all work. But that's for everybody else too.
Yeah.
You know, I think you have to do the best you can with what time you have. So, you know, have
Yeah.
I would have somebody who's can only have
The hard part is that usually when you want person learner, you have to say like you know,
Yeah.
Wait, did you say? Are you going to about the disability policy
In DC.
I think I'm going. You're gonna go. Yeah, but that's because I wasn't able to go to the one.
Yeah. 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 I think there's probably limited funding. One of the things that I think, going to be able to do for participating is there's a leadership conference that they have it in February, April, and July.
The one in
Is that like the Kaufman? Oh, it's like a 2-day training. It's like $200 something. They have scholarships for that, and I think I'm going to try to go to do that, but I won't be able to go until July during the day and with my daughter. Yeah, to be able to go.
That's interesting.
And I want to do the AEC, but that's too intense right now.
Oh, like one in the summer.
Yeah, that's like an
Yeah.
But it's very intensive. I don't think right now I think we're putting our house on the market in the spring. So I'm not super familiar trying to figure out how to juggle everything.
But I know a lot of devices have options where you can
And driving about hours out every day.
or you can take a picture out and just do a word.
Wait, where do they go to school?
Well, because my husband has got a teaching job in Atlanta.
Yes.
And so we're able to send our kids there. Because Carson is
Yes, more like a site
and
word.
then my other kid is in kindergarten, and my daughter will be basically off. So everybody will be in a
Really
So everyone's in Olathe.
well, everyone but my daughter. She's still in KCK, like preschool. And then they cut the budget. Like 30% of their funding got sent to the family service center. So she was eligible for just half day. So it's been really difficult for me to be at KU. And so I'm pretty,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so I've been worried about my hours and everything.
Yes.
I don't know who all have any.
Yeah, I would do that.
I worked like
Maybe
11 hours.
start out just like
in
July.
I think
So like maybe for Monday. That's pretty good. I think most people like to do. Like I think I maybe got a website recognition 5 hours,
Yeah.
but I would just like
Yeah.
consider like
Yeah.
4 days a week category now. So it doesn't necessarily like your ABCs or something better.
Just wish I could figure out what to do. I think I'm waiting to hear back. So I have that collaboration. I'm waiting to hear back what they say about helping with that. Or if I do that. Or do another search.
So maybe like Renee would have some ideas.
Well, she wanted me to do something with that point.
Thank you.
Thank you. How did it go?
It's a work of art.
What that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the board next to all those other works of art, and I think I have parity.
Yeah.
Like maybe
or primarily pictures?
You ever walk around those, you're like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
And then you just keep walking.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
The words. Oh yeah. What did you say this is someone?
Yeah. And there's a couple of like classic. Look at you.
Okay, yeah.
Wrap up and then we'll sign off.
Yeah.
Is the
And I'm just checking in to see if there's any any more questions from Facebook Live. We would love to take some more if you guys have any more questions. Someone said, are we still accepting questions?
So with some of these buttons,
There's a couple questions here.
Yeah.
You wanted to read first? Well, you read that? You might read it out loud when it's written.
okay.
I do have a question. You
Yeah.
use the phrase social stories.
Mhm.
Because right now she's hugging everybody she
Okay.
sees, right? You get
Yeah.
a hug, I get a hug, everybody in church I get a hug. What
Okay.
was the
So
the crux of
the social stories they're really specific to her. So her name's Lauren.
Yeah.
So you would say, Lauren is very sweet, and like a picture of her. Lauren loves to hug everyone. Picture of people hugging. Sometimes it's okay to hug people. Like it's okay to hug your mom, it's okay to hug your dad, it's okay to hug your teacher. Sometimes it's not okay to hug people. It's not okay to hug people in the store, it's not okay to hug people at school, it's not okay to hug.
So that
Does
is
that make sense? Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to
So
start
anything
with
you
the
can
self-motivation.
Okay.
type it out. It's hard because these devices.
Okay.
It is sometimes the ones
Yeah.
the words that we go word.
So differentiating between it's okay to kiss you, it's okay to kiss you, it's not okay to kiss. So that's where the story is going to help. Because what you're saying, you're telling me, that's kind of hard for her to recognize. Like, okay, whatever. It's not needing it, right? So creating a story with visual images of like, it's okay to hug, or it's okay to kiss her. Not okay to kiss these people. Or in these situations, you could just say like at school, a picture of the school, at the grocery store. Not okay. Not okay. Does that make sense? Well, do you think that would be helpful?
It's hard.
Yeah, we are.
Or voice recognition questions. I thought I tried to respond and it wasn't letting me. I tried to type and
So
it
that's what it would be.
went back to the video and it wouldn't let me. I was trying to respond. Someone had asked. I don't know if that was before or
But it could
after
be
she had
helpful.
said.
All right, Miss Katie, I'll tell Jeff.
Yeah, please do. Sean, I didn't see your question.
Yeah, someone asked if we were still.
It just said, are we still answering? I already said that. Was there one more there?
I don't think there is. Somebody asked me.
What awards would you recommend for a 2.5?
I was just kidding.
All right. So one of the questions that was just asked is, what rewards would we recommend for a 2.5-year-old? These would be things that are exciting to your child in particular. So that could be like a special sort of treat. It could be a really small token of some sort. If they really like Legos, it could be a few Legos. Something really, really small. So if they really like gummy snacks, it could be one gummy. But just small rewards that are exciting to them. That's the big kicker for the rewards, is that they have to be exciting to your child. So I can't recommend exactly what your child might like, but that's what it would be, is something small. Any other questions before we go ahead and sign off? All right, thanks everybody so much for tuning in, and we're going to go ahead and sign off. Oh, not quite yet.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, 'cause I mean that